Hello guys and welcome to the video. This is power tip 2 of the XAT decision making series. If you haven't watched power tip 1, the first video, you might want to watch it. All right, here is the 2 cents for today. In these questions, guys, persuasion is better than force or request. So force means compulsion or constraint exerted upon an individual. So passing a diktat, for example, is using force to make people do what you want them to do. The problem with force is that it may aggravate people and it may spawn rebellion. People may start harboring negative feelings for you, for your authority. Therefore, force is not a preferred choice. More important for us is to understand the difference between request and persuasion, because the difference is subtle. Guys, when you request someone to do something, you leave it to his whims. He may or may not, your request may or may not materialize into action. So technically speaking, requesting someone amounts to inaction on your part. Action, if at all, will be taken by the other party, and we are not sure whether he will take the action. While persuasion means you're making him do something, you're getting him into doing what you want him to do. So persuasion by all means is action, or leading someone into action, basically. Now, at the face of it, the subtle distinction, the nuance might appear irrelevant, but I'll show you how it helps us solve some questions in decision making. This subtle difference between request and persuasion. Okay. Let's look at this question from XAT 2020. A powerful, intelligent king, Vanamali, once ruled over an ancient kingdom, Van Rajya. The kingdom was known for its high mountains and sprawling plains, and 90% of its land was under forest cover. Okay. Trade in forest produce was the mainstay of its economy, supported by subsistence agriculture. With the increase of population over time, the forest in the plains was cleared for agriculture. The forest in the plains was cleared. Okay. Forests in the mountains continued to supply nutrient-enriched water and abundant forest produce to the plains. As a result, agricultural yields were bountiful. The plains prospered as compared to the mountains. So basically, mountains provided for the prosperity of the plains. That's the situation. The increasing prosperity of the plains people tempted those in the mountains to divert forest land for agriculture. Vanamali was afraid that the expansion of the agriculture would result in deforestation of the mountains. Which of the following is the best course of action for Vanamali to conserve the mountain forest? Okay. So if you remember power tip 1, the objective has been defined. The objective is to conserve the mountain forest. All right. Option A says urge the elders of the mountains to come up with agricultural practices that ensure no erosion of forest cover. All right. A fancy answer choice. At a superficial glance, it might appear really good. But remember, it involves only a request, only urging the elders of the mountains to come up with agricultural practices. They may or may not accede to your request. So this amounts to inaction and leaving it to the whims of the elders. So we eliminate this. To levy a tax on traded agricultural produce, tax is always an unpopular action. Okay, so levy a tax on the traded agricultural produce from the plains to cross subsidized supplies to the mountain people. Providing subsidy to the mountain people does not really address the issue. They may take the benefit of subsidy. They may still, however, go on to clear the forest cover for agricultural purposes. So it does not address the issue. It is irrelevant. To institute a mechanism that ensures plains people pay royalty, which will be transferred to the mountain people for maintaining forest cover. All right. So basically, you are incentivizing. This is incentivization. So if you're giving incentive to the mountain people, you are in a sense persuading them into doing something. So this is in a sense persuasion, incentivization. Option C should be the correct answer. To constitute a committee. Now, constituting a committee is just delaying tactics. People familiar with the even having an inkling of knowledge about Indian politics know it better. Declare a mountain day. This is tokenism. So this is just making some people happy, but not an effective measure. Declaring mountain day, such actions are always tokenism. Okay. So in this particular question, we eliminated option A because you were merely making a request and you were leaving it to the whims of the elders. However, in the same paper now, look at this question. Same XAT 2020. Another set here. A multinational company sources pristine natural spring water from Bori, a village in Satpura Mountains. Unprocessed natural spring water is directly bottled by the MNC. Company brands it as natural spring water, sells it at 50% premium. Okay. The local panchayat under the Panchayati Raj Act controls the spring water usage. Hence, the company signed 30-year contract with the panchayat for exclusive access to the spring water for business purposes. Contract contributes 50% of panchayat's revenue besides 250 jobs. Spring also meets domestic and agricultural needs of the people of Bori and the surrounding villages. Perfect. We have understood the situation. Chanchala owns a small parcel of farming land in Bori. She grows cannabis, excellent, in some part of her land and earns a significant amount of money from it. I'm sure she does. Soon after the bottling plant was commissioned, Chanchala, instigated by a landlord with a vested interest, starts accusing the company of robbing her of water and impacting her livelihood. She threatens to take the MNC to court. All right. So we have identified the problem. What is the best course of action for the multinational company? So we have defined the objective. In the order of preference, the first thing you should, the least radical step should be the first priority. So talk her out of it. Second, incentivize it. Give some incentive for her not to go to the court. Third, threat or some legal action maybe. Now, this will not be the answer because 1 and 2, I'm sure either 1 or 2 will be available. Let's see. Option A says request the panchayat to excommunicate Chanchala for cultivating cannabis. Now, this not only amounts to a threat on part of panchayat, also on part of the MNC, it is inaction because they are only making a request to the panchayat and they do not know whether panchayat will accede to their request. So again, request, as we discussed, eliminated. To get the villagers employed by the MNC to persuade Chanchala not to sue. Persuading her not to sue means talking her out of it, as we saw. So this is number 1, could be the answer. Promise to employ Chanchala's 17-year-old son as he turns 18. This is incentivization. So second in the order of preference, buy Chanchala's produce at a premium of 30% to the market price. Again, incentive. So second, compensate the monetary loss as perceived by Chanchala. Again, second. Also, as perceived by Chanchala is vague. is a blanket statement. She might claim $10 million as a perceived monetary loss. The company cannot afford to to give it to her. All right. So the correct answer is 1. On the same set, we had this question as well. Please listen to this question carefully. The MNC is concerned about chemical contamination of the natural spring water due to the agricultural runoff with pesticides and fertilizers. Okay. MNC is looking for a sustainable solution to this contamination. All right. What is the best course of action? So objective defined. Resolve this problem. Agricultural runoff with pesticides and fertilizers. Option A says negotiate with the panchayat, always a good option, to gain control of the entire spring and provide alternate sources of irrigation for farming. However, panchayat is unlikely to cede the entire land or the entire spring catchment to the company because their domestic and agricultural needs also get fulfilled from the same spring. So it is unlikely to work. Though it can be tried, it is unlikely to work. So maybe not the best option. Let's see if we have better ones. Change the branding of natural spring water to processed drinking water. Then it is equivalent to killing your USP because it will hit the 50% premium that they are charging, and they will not have any USP, a unique selling point. They will just be like other companies selling processed water. To coax the farmers in the natural springs catchment to move to organic farming. No. Look at the word choice here. Beautiful. They are not requesting the farmers. They're actually coaxing the farmers. And the meaning of the word coax is to make them do it rather than merely request them do it. And because it involves persuasion, and if the company can make farmers move to organic farming, pesticides will not be used, fertilizers will not be used, the problem stands resolved. Option C, persuading them into organic farming, into moving to organic farming, is the best solution for them. Okay. To acquire all agricultural land in the natural springs catchment and afforest them. Now, not a financially wise decision, not a feasible plan, acquiring all the agricultural land. So I have feasibility issues here. Also, afforesting them might not address the real issue. Move to another state with unexploited natural springs, obviously escapist route, the least preferred option. So guys, while in this question, we eliminated this option, which only involved a request and urging of the elders, requesting the elders to come up with a viable solution. Here we are selecting an apparently similar yet wholly different option because it does not involve only a request, it also involves, it actually involves persuasion. I hope you got the point of this video, guys, and you enjoyed the video. Hope it helps. Cheers to learning. More coming your way soon.